Welcome to Missing on Monday, where the details of a new missing persons case will be explored each week. Some of the content covered may be sensitive. Listener discretion is advised. Good morning.
Good morning, friend.
Happy Monday again.
2 Mondays in a row. Man,
I mean, every Monday.
my brain is so fried because in addition to it being podcast day, it is also Taylor Swift day. And I was up until 2:00 in the morning singing brokenhearted love songs at the top of my lungs, despite the fact that I'm very happily married.
So funny.
Oh, and I have those special bougie lights in my living room. So I turned the lights red in honor of the album release.
Oh,
Anyway,
my Lord.
I did do that. And you can look at my TikTok because I made a drunken TikTok video.
I bet you did. Oh, my goodness. So please forgive me.
Oh,
I am a fan, but I am not like a
Swiftie.
not diehard.
You're not a
So did she just redo like old songs?
So because
That's
she
what I
writes
was
her
getting.
own songs, she has the rights to all of the like music. Her label had the rights to the actual songs themselves, and then they sold those songs, and she was pissed about it. So she literally went through and re-recorded, like she's re-recording every album that she made that this asshat, who I won't name, has the rights to, so that he no longer can make any money if it stops, those albums stop streaming on like Spotify and Apple Music. So every time she releases another album, everybody only listens to the new album. It's the exact same songs, but she just re-recorded them as basically like a F you.
F you. Gotcha.
This is my music.
Okay.
And it's freaking incredible. Also, she changed some things because she's older now, and
yeah,
it's
life's
really
different.
good. I'm gonna be out of commission. Like literally, I'm going to shit my pants and hide in my room with a blanket when she releases the Reputation album, because that is my favorite Taylor Swift era. And I'm so excited. I honestly can't wait.
Is that the Shake It Off? I think it is.
That's the one that where she's like really pissed off, but like it's the man hater music. I think Shake It Off was on Lover.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh no, it was 1989. She's such a musical genius. I love her. Anyways, moving on. We have a brand new, very interesting and mysterious story to talk about today.
Today, we are going to talk about Daniel Robinson. He is a 24-year-old African-American male. He's about 5'8", 165 pounds, and he was actually born without his right hand, but he didn't have a prosthetic either. He's originally from South Carolina, but after graduating as a field geologist in 2019, he had moved to Phoenix, Arizona. He was last seen at a job site in Buckeye, Arizona on June 23rd, 2021, leaving the job site in his blue 2017 Jeep Renegade. I definitely looked up exactly what a field geologist does. I mean, I could use my imagination, but I really just wanted to know exactly. Per Google, a field geologist studies the composition of the Earth's crust and works to understand the history and structure of the planet. Also known as geoscientists, field geologists study Earth processes such as floods, landslides, earthquakes, or volcanic eruptions, and survey land to understand the changes over time. Pretty interesting, I thought. I don't know.
I always thought that they studied rocks, like gems.
Well, so we all maybe learned something.
We did.
I thought it was a pretty interesting job? I don't.
Well, so geologists have to come to Ryan's job site
Oh,
and
I
survey
bet.
the land and make sure that there's not going to be a giant landslide when they start drilling. So there's actually a lot of use for that profession. You just don't hear about it very often.
You don't. And actually, the site that he went missing from was a drill site.
That makes sense.
So, yeah. Anywho, in the weeks leading up to his disappearance and in the morning that he vanished, Daniel went from acting totally normal to acting pretty strange at times. Apparently, he had made some comments his family members thought were odd. And, like, I don't know, one day he left his apartment door wide open and disappeared for a significant amount of time before returning. Some odd things.
I have never done that except when I was pregnant. Pregnancy brain will make you leave your front door open, but being that Daniel is a man, I don't think he can fall back on that excuse.
No.
His sister said a couple of weeks prior, he went to her house, and she's the only family member that actually lives in Arizona. She said that he would just have times where he would like not talk at all and just be kind of staring off, looking at the wall, not saying anything. He did mention to her that he met someone and he was in love with her, but he also really didn't give any information about the girl besides her name, which seemed odd because he was making it seem like he was in a real serious relationship with her. The woman that he was talking about, he had only known for a couple of weeks before he disappeared, and her name is Caitlin. According to the police report, they did reach out to her, and she said that he actually was her instant cart shopper, which is kind of funny. I never open the door for my instant cart shoppers. I just like hide and then wait until they're gone, and then I go grab my stuff.
Right.
I'm antisocial. Caitlin and her friend were drinking, and when Daniel got there, he seemed like a nice guy and pretty harmless. So they invited him in to hang out. I mean,
why can I see you and Kristen doing this? Like in
because
your
we
early
did.
20s. I know.
Because
I know.
did.
Yes.
Except instead of an Instacart driver, we invited in our pizza guy.
There's picture evidence.
There is photo evidence, and we smoked some weed with him.
Oh, well, okay.
Hey, it's legal. We're in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it wasn't legal then. Anyway, so they invited Daniel in to hang out. They had exchanged phone numbers, and apparently he accidentally left his canopy over at her place. She turned all of her text messages over to the police, and we are going to reenact those text messages now because it's freaking crazy. Also, we are going to have someone else reading his part so that you're not confused with two females trying to read a male and a female text thread.
Sunday, June 13th, 2:29 a.m. Caitlin sends a podcast link to Daniel.
Sunday, June 13th, 2:29. Hey. Hey, I accidentally left my canopy outside your house. Is it still there? If so, is it okay if I pick it up? Also, the podcast was great.
Tuesday, June 15th, 1:37 p.m. Yes, you can pick it up whenever.
Tuesday, June 15th, 8:30 p.m. Thanks. How do I get there again? I can come now or tomorrow afternoon to grab it.
Wednesday, June 16th, 2:06 p.m. Hi, I saw you on the camera. I'm in Flagstaff and we'll be home later tonight. If you want, I can put it out front by the chairs before I head out to work tomorrow.
Wednesday, June 16th, 3:12 p.m. Heart emoji. Wednesday, June 16th, 10:13 p.m. I'm sorry.
Thursday, June 17th, 6:39 p.m. Please stop showing up unannounced.
Okay, I won't ever again.
Thanks. I'm looking right now and I don't see the canopy in the garage.
Don't worry about it. I already have it.
Question mark. I'm confused.
I did grab it yesterday. I just wanted to tell you I'm sorry for disappearing the other day. I couldn't stop thinking about you. Saturday, June 19th, 12:44 p.m. Can we hang out?
I'm not home.
Okay. Sunday, June 20th, 12:14 a.m. I love you. June 20th, 8:28 a.m. Are you home today?
Sunday, June 20th, 9:36 a.m. Honestly, you showing up at my house unannounced made me extremely uncomfortable. I will not be home today, but I don't see us hanging out anytime soon.
Okay, but do you have any doubt? Either way, I'll have to be okay with your answer. Monday, June 21st, 11:44 a.m. How are you feeling? Monday, June 21st, 3:46 p.m. I'm outside of your place.
Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Please stop doing that. I'm not even home. This is not okay.
I guess it's not.
Not you guess. I've told you it's not okay and not to come to my home unannounced.
Are you okay with me?
No. This is not normal nor acceptable.
What is normal?
Making plans before showing up at someone's home, and if someone has expressed that you've made them uncomfortable, you need to back off.
Do you hate me?
I don't hate you, but please leave me alone.
Monday, June 21st, 8:46 p.m. You're right. Tuesday, June 22nd, 3:07 p.m. The world can get better, but I'll have to take all the time I can, or we can, whatever to name it. I'll either see you again or never see you again.
And that was the last time that Caitlin ever heard from Daniel.
So obviously we can see from the thread the escalation.
Yeah. I would be freaked out.
He was last seen by his coworker Ken Elliott at a well site near Buckeye on June 23rd at 9:15 in the morning. This was the first time that they had ever met each other. They actually met there at the site that morning to assess a remote drill site. The drill site was in a very secluded desert area. His coworker did mention that he seemed totally fine. They discussed the weather because I guess there was some rain in the forecast, which obviously in their occupation
You have to discuss that.
Yes. So they discussed the weather and they discussed the job, but within a matter of minutes, Daniel's behavior changed. Ken said that he seemed super distracted and he was just kind of looking off into the desert. According to Ken, Daniel had like a distant look in his eyes, is what he said, which this is kind of coincides with what his sister had said. So Ken said that whenever Daniel turned around, he would look at him right in his eyes because the first thing that he thought is that it was like he was high or something, but said that his pupils didn't seem to be dilated. And then he went back to acting normal. So Ken just kind of assumed like maybe it was a medical thing. He really wasn't sure. And he said that he kept watching him, but he just kept turning around and looking off into the desert. A short time later, Daniel turned around and walked over to his Jeep. Ken assumed he was just probably getting something out of his vehicle, which that's what anybody would probably have assumed. But he got in the vehicle, sat down, put on a seatbelt, looked over at Ken and just waved at him and then backed up and left the job site. I can't imagine what Ken was probably thinking. Like, what is happening right now?
Dude, where are you going?
Yeah. So Ken did wait a little bit, hoping that Daniel would just return. But after he didn't return, Ken reached out to their project manager just to make him aware of the situation because it did feel so strange.
Daniel's father, David, reported him missing that same day because nobody in his family could reach him on his phone, which was really unusual for him. David called his job and other family members to see if anybody had heard from him, and the general consensus was that nobody was able to get a hold of him. In the police report, it says that Daniel's father and his other family members agreed that Daniel had no mental health problems or drug-related problems. He did smoke a little pot and drink every now and again, but never to the point of it being an issue. The other interesting thing to note is that when police asked Daniel's father if there was any activity on his social media accounts, he said that there hadn't been. And then when he pulled up his Instagram, all of his Instagram posts had been deleted. Very strange.
Very strange.
Ken's project manager returned his call later that afternoon to let him know that nobody had heard from Daniel since the last time that Ken saw him. So Ken decided to go look for him. He pulled out on the road heading south, following the direction that he saw Daniel going. Down the road, he came to a T intersection where you can either turn east, which is where they had come from to get to the drill site. Also, it leads to a town. And then west, which you're basically just driving farther into the desert. Ken says the only car track that he believes were Daniel's went in the west direction. So he drove down that road trying to see if he could find Daniel, but unfortunately he was unsuccessful.
Like, also, what a nice guy.
I mean, I kind of feel like I would do the same thing given that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and you're in the desert. You're not close to things.
And you were the last person to, like, you get confirmation that nobody can get a hold of this guy. And you're like, okay, well, I saw him go this way. Like,
well, and he's the closest person to where he could potentially be. So at this point, Daniel was officially a missing person. In all honesty, I will say, to me, that's impressive. Only because in so many cases, you hear that, law enforcement says that you have to wait 24 hours to do a missing persons report. So the fact that they did it the same day, like, kudos. I think they did actually do a search in the area going off of what Ken had said, the area that, or the way that he thought that they were Daniel's car tracks, assuming that they were Daniel's car tracks. But it wasn't until July 19th, almost a month after he went missing, just 4 miles away from the job site, a rancher had found his Jeep rolled over on its side in a ravine on his property. The airbags were deployed, and evidence in the vehicle indicated that the driver was wearing a seatbelt at the time of the crash. The only thing I could imagine that they would know that is, like, if there was blood or something on the seatbelt.
I think when you're wearing your seatbelt and it, like, jams in an accident, especially like because his Jeep was newer, probably the car was able to track that.
Yeah. So Daniel's cell phone, wallet, and keys were all found in his Jeep, and his clothes were found nearby. Not in the Jeep. They were found outside of the Jeep.
Okay, I know that I always have
go ahead.
Interjections. Just
no, interjection. It's wild, right?
So Talladega Nights, when dude gets in the crash.
You and your movies. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I'm on fire. I'm on fire. That part.
Help me, Jesus. Help me, Tom Cruise.
Okay, that was a good interjection. Okay. Not that any of this is funny.
It's not, but it's my mind. My brain does these things every time. Continue.
Okay. So Buckeye Police Department stated that they had worked with outside agencies to search over 70 square miles with the assistance of UTVs, cadaver dogs, drones, and helicopters. They didn't do this search until after the vehicle was found. During that search, they did find human remains, but they were not Daniel's.
After the discovery of the Jeep, Daniel's family hired an accident reconstructionist and a private investigator who said that the accident scene had been staged. Interesting. Well, the photos look pretty damn convincing to me.
Yes, but also the fact that they went straight to, like, hire a private investigator and accident reconstructionist. They're not messing around.
No, they're not. And good on them.
Yeah.
That's not cheap either.
Mm-mm.
So they said that after the airbags deployed, the ignition was turned over 46 more times. And then there was an additional 11 miles on the car that registered after the car had crashed, which kind of makes sense because if he had crashed and was in the car and was maybe trying to start the car again.
That's what I thought. I thought that the fact that it had been attempted to be turned over 46 more times, to me, not being a professional, I didn't think that that was odd.
But now that I'm thinking about it, 46 times,
That's a lot of times.
that is a lot of
But
times.
if you're in the middle of a desert and you are
stranded and you have no way to get
stranded,
out,
what else are you going to do?
but also if the car is on its side like it is in the photos, what's the point in turning the engine on? Shouldn't you flip the car over?
I mean, he probably could not flip the car over. Maybe he was trying to get some AC.
Ah, that theory makes sense. But also, he probably could have flipped the car over because your adrenaline can make you do some crazy things. There's an old lady, I swear to God, this is true. And maybe it's not, but I'm pretty sure it is. It's like her grandson or something got trapped under a car and she lifted up the car and got him out because her adrenaline just like gave her super strength. It totally happens. Or maybe it doesn't. Google it. The 11 additional miles that registered on the car, there's some conflicting information on that because according to Jeep, it's not uncommon for the odometer to be slightly off. In other car crashes that they had investigated, they had kind of seen the same thing. So it wasn't out of the realm of normal. After Daniel's car was found in the ravine, it took 24 hours for his dad to be notified. Police suggested to him that maybe Daniel undressed himself totally and walked off naked into the desert to become a monk and join a monastery.
What a far reach.
Like, that's not what my mind goes to first.
In the world?
David said that regardless of what the Buckeye police are saying, his son would never just get naked and walk off.
If you know your kid, you know your kid. Like,
yeah.
I do think it's odd that his clothes were found outside of the Jeep.
Again, maybe
I still can't figure out.
Fire.
Maybe. And also if he was not, I mean,
maybe he was concussed.
Also that. Jeff McGrath, the PI that his father hired to help locate Daniel, continued searching the Arizona desert with more than 200 volunteers from all over the local area. That's freaking fantastic. In early November, I believe it was like November 4th, another search for Daniel was conducted and another set of human remains were found. David quickly confirmed that the remains did not belong to his son, but hopes that it will bring closure to another grieving family. Like, how sweet. So there is a website, pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. According to that website and the PI, they've actually found the remains of 5 to 6 people. Everything has been turned over to the police. None of them were Daniel. It's really unfortunate. They have a GoFundMe set up. We will obviously link it. And the GoFundMe is set up basically to help Daniel's father and the PI be able to stay in that area because remember, Daniel's father lives in South Carolina. So it's helping for them to be able to stay in the area to continue searching for Daniel. And at this point, Daniel's dad still thinks that they're going to be able to find him alive.
I mean, moral of the story, I feel, is stay away from the desert. Lauren, Daniel, Gabby, not a desert, but
all right, let's hear your theory.
Maybe he had a psychotic break, crashed his car, wandered off, found a drill site, fell in a drill hole, and got buried there. You can easily fall in a drill hole if the drill is big enough.
Oh, no. I absolutely agree with that.
Like if he fell in the hole and he couldn't get out and like maybe the dirt guys came in and like.
Well, this was 4 miles from the drill site that his car was found.
You could
not saying that there's not another drill site like that could be nearby, but he was also on a rancher's land.
Maybe he was like severely depressed that Caitlin wasn't about it.
With the escalation of that quote unquote relationship, and just his behavior in the weeks prior to his disappearance. Working in the emergency room, I have seen it multiple times. It usually happens with men in their early 20s where they like have their first like schizophrenic episodes. So I am not saying that that's what happened, but I do think there was something going on that came out of nowhere, because his family is saying that before the couple of weeks prior to his disappearance, he was totally normal. And then all of a sudden started having these moments of almost like he just wasn't there, like, just totally checked out.
So the search party searched 70 miles around where the Jeep was found. They had cadaver dogs, they had UTVs, they had drones. If there was a body, they would have found it.
I mean, not necessarily, because they did find one body, but also the search party that the PI had set up, like they found 5 or 6 bodies.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, stay out of the freaking desert. Just don't go. This is why I will never leave Washington. There's no desert here. In fact, it's raining
Eastern
so much
Washington.
What's that called when your car?
Hydroplaning.
I have done that every single day for the last 3 days trying to get on the freeway. That's why I don't drive.
That's scary.
Yeah, it was freaking terrifying. I don't know. Part of me thinks that Daniel is still alive, that he had some kind of psychotic break, that maybe he did find an odd community. I don't know.
Maybe.
I just feel like, given the resources that were put towards those searches, 200 volunteers.
And they're continuing these searches.
Yeah. They actually have another search this weekend.
Oh, okay.
Like tomorrow.
Like
November
that's the thing
13th.
Is his dad has stated, I think several times, that like he is not leaving Arizona until Daniel is found.
Oh, that poor man.
I know.
Well, if you see Daniel and you're in the Arizona area, there is a phone number that you can call for tips. We will also post the GoFundMe link in the show notes. If you're able to donate to that, it would help the family with the investigation.
All right. So there's Daniel's story. Pretty crazy one, huh?
That's wild.
Every time I think that they can't get crazier,
they do.
They do. So anyway. Well, anything exciting happening this week?
Besides Taylor Swift?
That's what you're going to be doing. You're just going to be listening to Taylor Swift on repeat.
That's what I was. The second that we end this recording,
right back to it.
Blaring it. Yes.
All right.
We're going to go to our river property.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I mean, I'm pretty determined.
I am as well, but it doesn't always mean that I will win.
I agree. The only thing that's possibly a guarantee for me is that we have to get this trailer back there.
Brian hasn't been getting home until like 7 o'clock at night every night. And dear. Yeah, he was a real
cranky McCrankerson.
Cranky McCrankerson last night. That's why I came in here and I locked the door and la 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 la.
And you're like, I can't hear you.
A little grumpy pants. I was like, And then I told him that I need him to pretend like we're in the middle of a really difficult divorce so that I can relate thoroughly to Taylor's emotional songs. And he said, okay, love you. He went to
He's
bed.
like, okay, bye. You're ridiculous.
Oh man, I want you to see that TikTok. I was very drunk and it was like midnight. And it's a little embarrassing, but also I was vibing so hard.
I will have to go watch it.
Channeling my inner 16-year-old. Broken.
All right. Well, that is that. And I think that will wrap it up for this week.
Yes, ma'am. We are going to get to work on finding you another interesting case. If you have suggestions, please send them our way. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please rate us 5 stars. If you want to rate us less than 5 stars, no, you don't. You
Can email us
Yes.
your constructive criticism.
Yes, you can. And we
We will
listen
take
to
it.
Yes.
Just
Anyways,
not
you guys have
on the
a
review.
fantastic freaking week. We love you. Thanks for tuning in. We will talk to you next week.
Okay, bye.